Here in studio, I'm joined by two gentlemen who at some point like to call themselves rather Tammy Boys. They are from KCB RFC. The captain right here, Katis Lilako. Normally we confuse you with Katis Olago, who is the coach, and Ronnie Kangeta. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for coming in. Ronnie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Katis, how are you doing?
Very well.
I left you guys watching the Kenya game, Kenya and Fiji. How did you feel that we had to lose against Fiji again for a second time this season in the final?
Tough. I think we all sad that it happened. But you know, it's a game of rugby. It can go anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, we always wanted the boys to win, but it happened.
Yeah. Remember, KCB RFC retained the Kenya Cup for the 2017-2018 season, and they brought the trophy right here to studio. I have it here with me. We'll be talking about that.
They put up a good show. Yeah, it just means that we have to step it up to another level. We have to step it up to another level. Team, that was pure resilience from them. That was pure resilience. Pure resilience. They just refused to lose the game. That's commendable stuff.
So the highlights of the Kenya Cup final between KCB RFC and Kabras, where KCB successfully retained their title and making it a sixth in the Kenya Cup. And we have the gentlemen from KCB here, Ronnie Kangeta and Katis Lilako here. Gentlemen, Katis, I would like to start with you. You are the captain of KCB. How does it feel to go the whole season unbeaten?
I can't explain it with so many words. I was just happy. I was happy for not even me, but for the whole team. For the guys who put in the effort. It's something, it's not an easy feat to achieve. I think the last team to do that was Kenya Harlequins a few years ago. So you can see the period it has taken for another team to actually achieve the same. So I'd say I'm just excited that we were able to do that.
Ronnie, when the season started, you guys went 10 games unbeaten. Then there was talk that, you know, it's going to be like the previous season that there will be a team that is going to beat you, and people were saying the previous season, that was the 2016-2017 season, you were the first loss of the season you got was against Impala. So people, the critics rather, say that you will not go the whole season unbeaten, but you proved them wrong. You know, how did that happen?
As you've seen in the clip, the head coach, I just said, pure resilience and hard work, and the players give it their all. And also planning and executing our games and our plans.
Is it that we don't have a team that can match, you know, to the levels of KCB in Kenya?
Not at all. There is, and Kabras did that. And in fact, for the Kabras in the final game against us, they really went back to the drawing board and they gave us a hard time. And it came out and showed. Our players at some point before the game, the last, I think, 10-15 minutes, we were just defending. And it showed, but the boys were strong in heart. But there are teams which can beat us, and we are not taking them for granted. All we are doing is we're just working hard as a team, and it shows in the pitch. Yes.
Katis, you've played for KCB for quite a while. What makes KCB that good?
I think, first of all, our management. I'll have to give them that. They take the time to be with us every single session. And also, I think the brotherhood we have. We always play for each other. You know, I don't think there's anyone who can let an opponent pass you and then just go. You know, we'll always come and cover that. We put in the work. We train 3 times a week, and we strive to make all the sessions. So we just put in our hard work, and we always play for each other. I think playing for each other is what always gets us where we are.
Ronnie, before the season started, you guys went down to South Africa for, I think, a week's training. And how did that change, you know, the way you performed in Kenya Cup in the 2017-2018 season?
We went down to South Africa for, I think, 10 days. Unfortunately, we didn't go with our Kenya Cup players, the main players, and Kanakatis. But the players we carried, we were looking also ahead in the future, where KCB will be in the future. What we learned in South Africa was beneficial to the team because we learned a bit of professionalism, keeping time, a change of training, and how to also treat the players to get to play in Kenya Cup well. And with that, we came and tried and instill a few things. And frankly speaking, we have just done 5% of what we learned.
5% of what you learned?
Yes. We've just learned 5% only. We've not even done the whole 100% of what we learned.
So does it mean that if you put in the 100% of what you learned, then you will be on a totally different level?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. With the hard work from the boys, support from the sponsor, the KCB Bank, believe you me, I believe we'll be up there. Yes.
Curtis, before the final, I looked at the social media page of KCB RFC, and you were talking about, doing it for Kilonzi. May God rest his soul in peace. You were talking about doing it for Kilonzi, and what type of motivation did that bring into the team?
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the season we said we want to win the cup, for everyone, but majorly for the late Jimmy Kilonzo. He was a really big pillar for us during the last season. I think we attributed most of our with him, because he's one of the few players who would just come out and say, guys, you have to do it. And it wasn't just by word of mouth. He'd actually put it into practice. So he was someone we really looked up to, even us as senior players, because there's some heart that he always made us, come forward with. So in the season when we dedicate this cup to him, we were just always thinking about how hard he used to play. So we always had to come and play harder. The work he put both in attack and defense. If you saw the finals, as Ronnie has said, the last 10 minutes or so, we were basically defending. We won the game through our defense, through a last tackle that ended up in an error from Cabras, and that's what won us the game. So I think the heart that we got from how Jimmy used to play, that's what took us through.
Ronnie, let me take you back 2 years ago when that's the 2015-2016 season. You lost in the semi-finals. Then the final was between Impala and Cabras, where Cabras won. Then how did you manage to turn that to make it so consistent that you had to get 2 in a row?
When we lost that semi-final, I think we had not set up our structures to where we wanted them to be. And we somehow just went back to the drawing board again, sat down with the technical bench, and we decided to do our things now a bit more professionally. We had to make sure that the boys come in on time for training, make everything is, we talked to the SNC coach, and the coach made sure that the boys were always fit and up to keep to the game. And with that, I think it's what has helped us now in the last 2 seasons. Winning that, it's been hard work. Number one, especially just to make the boys fit and be able to play. And again, our management was fair enough to equip the gym. Our gym, in fact, I think by that time our gym was not fully equipped. But with time, after that loss, I think our management did a good thing. Our sponsor made the gym more equipped, brought in more weights and all, and we got back to the drawing board. And by good luck, yeah, we have done so well the last 2 years. Yes.
Curtis, I want to bring you into this and the competition in the team. I mean, there is a time when you included go to play for the national team, that is Simba's, but again at the same time the team is playing in Kenya Cup, but the results are consistent brother. How is the competition in the team?
It's tough. First thing at KCB, we have a large depth of players. There's a lot of competition among us different positions. I think at least on average 3 guys per position. And as Ronnie said, we have a good gym. Our SNC Shamia is working really hard with us. So when you reach a point where you have fit players and guys are ready to play, so you have to have an edge over someone else if you want to start. So by the time some of us leave for the national duty or so, we leave behind guys who are as able as us, you see. So having that culture of being consistent in training and that pool of players whereby you can choose from different people and who are all training at the same level, working together, I think it helps us a lot in whatever how we play the games.
Ronnie, let's talk about the scouting system at KCB. I mean, we've seen a number of top players leave, go to play for opposing teams or opponents rather, but you've managed to bring in players that fit into that gap that has been left. How is the scouting system?
Truthfully speaking, we really don't scout. Players come by themselves.
Players want to play
yes,
for KCB.
Players want to come and play for KCB, and I won't be surprised after this. By the time we're starting the next season, I won't be surprised like 10 more players already saying they want to come. In fact, we are receiving calls from a few of them saying they want to come and play, which is also good for us. Apart from that, we have a feeder system of our young players, and good luck even when we went for Nakuru 10s, we went with a few of our young players who are under 19. And we have a team called Northern Suburbs, which is part of our growing team. And with that, we also use that as a way to bring in young boys to the team and players. But frankly, we've never gone out to look for players. They always come on their own, and they're good quality players. Yes.
There has been the question of, when it comes to 7s, KCB does not perform well, but when it comes to 15s, then now that's when you see the real KCB. What normally happens?
I don't know if it's unfortunate or it's fortunate. Our best 7s players for the team are already in the national 15s team. So we have been trying to rebuild back. There's a time we won the 7s series for a while, I think once or twice, and we were using these same players in the 15s team. Right now, because the 7s and the 15s fall at the same time, we are forced to use players who are upcoming, and we also try to use the players one or two who have been in the 7s. But our major players, if we were to fill a team for 7s, we will fill the players. We have players who are in the 15s and who can play the same. But we are now forced to rebuild, and we are coming back. We are rebuilding, and we've already identified a few players. And I'm sure this coming 7 series, it will be a different. Yes.
Curtis, let me bring you into this, and we talk about, Kenyan rugby. KCB is performing very well, giving a chunk of players to the national team, feeding the national team. But when it comes to, you are a player, one of the players in the national team, or one of the integral components in that matter. But when it comes to the national team, we don't perform that well. What does it say about rugby in the country?
We've been growing in the recent years. I'd say we've actually improved. Let's say from the time we had our former head coach, Jerome Pawata. I think the performance drastically, it improved. We got to position 22. I think that's the highest Kenya 15s had ever gotten to.
True.
But I think we just need to be more consistent, especially in our training. And as you all know, the issues of the sponsors, head sponsors and all things like that play a big role. But now with the competition in the Kenya Cup and in the ESS and also National League, because now we have a larger pool of players in the competitions, I think the more the players are, you can get a better pool of players to work with. But I think we're heading in the right direction. We're actually going to do better.
Ronnie, the season is done. You guys have retained this. 2018, 2019, are we still going to see you retain this? And, what kind of improvements are you going to make into the team?
We are going to work hard to make sure that we try and defend the cup for the third time. Any improvements, I don't think we'll do much. We'll just continue working hard, and we'll try and be consistent, as the captain says. Consistency and a good performance from the players, definitely, and support from our sponsor, the KCB Bank Group, I believe will be a source of strength for the boys and a source of pride for them to try and return the cup back. Yes.
Your thoughts, Curtis?
I'd say the support should continue from even outside, like the fans and the other sponsors and guys who are ready to join the sport. The sport is growing. I think Kenya Sevens are showing it a lot. We get into many finals. The ladies are also showing that we can do things. So more guys should just join in, and also even from the media and all, just continue the support. I think we're heading to better places.
Yeah, right now there's a parent who's watching at home and wondering, why would I let my child play rugby? There has been that notion of, rugby is a dangerous game. And you are one of the persons that play that. What would you tell, such a parent who's playing at home and that kid that wants to be the next Curtis?
Well, I think any sport has its own dangers.
Yes.
There's this thing that people don't know, that we actually train for the contact that's in the game. That's why you have the strength and conditioning. That's why you go to the gym and train as much as you do. Your bodies get conditioned for those knocks. Rugby is a very good game. It's something that you should let all our kids play, for both boys and girls. At the end of the game, we learn a lot other than just playing. you also learn the basic life skills, like discipline and, as Ronnie said, timekeeping and things like that. Because working with a group, you always want to be ahead of the rest. If you want to start in a game, you have to be like if I want to start at my position, I have to be better than anyone else who's behind me. So I have to work very hard, and working very hard, I work alone. I have to be committed. I have to love the sport, and I think it teaches you a lot even outside the pitch.
Ronnie, as we conclude, the brotherhood that is within the team. We've seen normally when the games are over, you guys get together, sing, and all that stuff that you do. How do you manage to cultivate that into, your players?
We've managed to cultivate that by having them always socialize. 1, 2, have their discipline levels at the right peak, and also just to make sure that we instill in them the brotherhood thing. Having them talk to each other and allow each other to be friends, and also make them be friends with each other. It's the best thing they can ever do. Apart from that, we've always also been having a pastor who comes to counsel the boys and pray with them. And that way we've cultivated that culture of sharing things together as a team whenever after the game is over, and even behind the game after the game.
Thanks a lot, Curtis and Ronnie. But we now take a short break. When we come back, remember, we'll be speaking to the KCB RFC captain Curtis Lilako, who is in studio here, and the team manager, Ronnie Kangeta, about, what to expect next season. And also, we have your top 5 moments of the week, and we have the results from the Super Rugby matches that were played over the weekend. And rather retained the 2017-2018 Kenya Cup title. And they're here with me in studio, and would like to keep that conversation going with the two. That is Curtis Lilako, who is the captain, and Ronnie Kangeta, who is the team manager. Now, Ronnie, I would like to start with you. You have a number of players in the team, the likes of Darwin. And, what do they bring into the team?
They bring... what do I say? I can say they bring the sportsmanship and a class of how to play rugby to the other players. They are like leaders, and they've gone through the paces, and they have learned how to play, and they've taken it a notch higher by being a bit more professional and loving it. So with that and their sense of hunger to play for the game, it makes the other younger players want to emulate them, and this has also brought a sense of the team playing in a more professional, in a more lively manner, and togetherness also of the team. Yes.
Curtis, when we went to the break, we were talking about, the relationship between KCB and Stormers in South Africa. If you can, elaborate more on that.
I think after the camp they went, I wasn't there.
Yes.
But they picked up a lot of information from that side. They also met with some of the players there, so I'm guessing they actually got to see how they operate before the games, during the games, and even after the games. Just before we played our semis, we had a short camp with Shimange from Western Province, and he actually gave us some insight on a few things that we did wrong, and we could always improve on our game. I think it's a good start to professionalism in Kenya, whereby we work with guys who have done it before and who know what the next level is. So I'd say they actually helped us a lot in even winning the cup. Cabras came very hard, and I think if we hadn't trained in some key aspects, they'd actually beaten us easily.
Ronnie, he talked about professionalism, and talking about that, and the clubs that we have in Kenya are run on a semi-pro basis. How long before we get there?
Mostly, I believe it depends on the sponsors. And for us, I can say, as Katia just said, when we went down to South Africa, courtesy of our sponsor, KCB Bank Group, we went down there to learn a few things, which we did, and we came back with a lot of that. Until we get, I think, also the league being run a bit more professional than it is, and facilities like pitches, hospitals which can take care of injuries and all that, professional doctors also for that and all. The best we can get to professionalism is we need to have big sponsors taking care of very many things, because like when we went to South Africa, the players there were sponsored, as in you get a guy is coming to training, he's been sponsored, he's been given a car, it's fueled by somebody, it's sponsored by somebody else, and he has so much with him, so his mind is just concentrating on rugby, nothing else. But us here, because we are semi-professional, because we haven't reached there, people have bills to pay and take care of their staff and everything, and families and all. So until we get there and where the sport can be taken seriously, as in to give somebody a living, I'm not seeing, for now we'll just still remain semi-professional.
Do you see us ever getting there, Curtis?
Yeah, we will. I think in also the recent years,
Yes.
more and more sponsors have come in. You know, you've seen in the national team, you've seen the likes of Miga, you know, SportPesa, Tusker, Safaricom, and I think they reaped the benefits from the periods they were actually with us. KCB is also doing something in, you know, showing that they can actually do it. Cabras, they have a very good sponsorship there. I'd also say Impala via Resolution Health. Just as Ronnie has said, if more sponsors, more stakeholders could come into this, you know, that we want to grow, we'll definitely get there.
Yeah. So as we wind up, you watched the game between Kenya and Hong Kong. Your thoughts on the final, Curtis?
I think we had the game. We just lost it due to the defensive errors. I think we gave them 5 penalties and they only had 1 penalty against us. So if we just worked harder on our concentration a bit, we wouldn't give them those, you know, quick and easy penalties, you know, and tries. Because I think in the second half we got more points on them, 12 points to 7. Yeah, so the defensive errors are actually what just made us.
Ronnie, your thoughts?
I think one, the discipline, the 2 yellow cards. I think we just did some silly mistakes of the 2 players, but I understand their frustration probably. We played there before and we know how it is sometimes. Yeah. I can just say the sky is the limit for them. I believe we're going down to Commonwealth now next week. We can only hope. I've seen that we don't have any major injuries. So I think we'll be fine. We're getting somewhere. If we continue getting support to the team and making them even, I think, more professional, we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, Curtis, which team do you support in the Super Rugby?
Many teams, but I'm an Australian fan, so I go with either the Waratahs or the Reds.
Oh, Waratahs. Ronnie?
I'm a Sharks.
Sharks.
Yes.
Well, the Hurricanes played the Sharks on Friday. Let's take a look at the highlights from that.
On the inside and Tembu, and now the Beast getting very close. Almost there. Quick ball required. Try. No, lost it.
That's the one that's conclusive. Well, it's not bobbling. He's got under control, hasn't he? I mean, real time, boys. I'm all for real time.
Bosch has closed it down pretty quickly, and he breaks the initial tackle, and off he goes. Calvin Bosch. Now, one player to beat. Didn't use his support. Carried on. Timble. Right, swings it across. A try here would be just the answer, and they've gone to the line and scored.
Okay, we talked about Bosch. Well, he's a special kid, isn't he? Only young. But man, look at that CFP. Running style is up here, but from the kickoff, under pressure here, he gets over.
Shields hands it on. Prinsep. He went. Believe it.
Well, he's went to work. Muscled and muscled and muscled, and eventually found the space. No man. It's a sensible thing. Sit closer to the post. And now we know Ehai West has had some big moments on this park.
Of course, the Hurricanes getting a win over the Sharks right there. Gentlemen, thanks a lot for coming in. Ronnie Kangeta, the team manager for KCB RFC, and Curtis Lako, the captain for KCB RFC, saying that the 2018-2019 season, they will be still chasing the Kenya Cup, chasing to retain the Kenya Cup title and also go unbeaten. Thank you for finding time to come in. Really appreciate. We'll be seeing you when the season opens in Kenya Cup. And don't forget this. I might go with it.